A 2,500-year-old mummy makes a strange bedfellow for a Wesleyan student. I'm David Ushery, and I'll explain coming up.
In a while, a Wesleyan University student returned to his dorm last Saturday to find someone in his bed. What was left of someone turned out to be a stranger more than 2,000 years old. Channel 3's David Ushery explains.
Wesleyan freshman Tim Abel already shares his room with some strange roommates, but wasn't thrilled to find an unwrapped mummy in his bed.
A few people from my hall ran down and said, "Tim, there's a dead body in your bed." And first I was like, I thought they were just kidding around.
The body was dead, all right, for 2,500 years. Saturday night, someone lifted the mummy from the Science Center and tucked it in. The freshmen on Tim's floor admit to being a bunch of wild and crazy guys, but think this joke might have been a bit morbid.
It was just gross, and he walks over, he's like, what's this piece of plastic doing here? So he walks over and he grabs it, and like flakes of the skin and stuff went under his fingernails.
It is a dead person from 2,500 years ago, and no matter who it is, they have to be respected.
After such a stressful weekend, the mummy offered no photo ops today. The remains are of an Egyptian scholar not likely to party with freshmen. Now, while Tim and his friends agree that the joke was tasteless, when it comes to identifying the perpetrator, they say mum's the word.
I'm looking at the broader picture, trying to look at how to prevent this from happening. Again, what steps do we need to take?
University security is investigating the mummy napping, although there is little legal precedent in the matter. Is the school at all considering adding a mummy clause to the student conduct code?
Maybe that's a good idea.
Clark says the school will find a proper resting place, preferably not in a dorm room. David Ushery, Channel 3 Eyewitness News, Middletown.
It was just a harmless prank, say two Wesleyan students who stole a mummy from the college science center. The ancient corpse ended up in a student's bed before being returned to its attic tomb. News at 10's Jim Hoffer unwraps the Middletown mummy mystery.
All right, here's my room right here.
Freshman Tim Abel was the target of this mummy meddling madness. He came back to his dorm room Saturday night to find a crusty corpse in his bed.
This was like something like you see in a horror movie. I was just disgusted. I was like, what is this? And before I actually really had time to react to it, the kid, the perpetrator came in, grabbed it, and took off with it to go return it.
Meet the minds behind the mummy mayhem. Still wanted by campus security, they've asked that their identities not be revealed.
I took it, had my fun with it, put it back.
You guys think that anyone should be disciplined for this?
I really don't think so. It's a college prank, and we did return the body, and there was no damage done to it.
We wanted to see for ourselves and set out to find the mummy.
If someone could show us where the mummy is.
Would you mind going?
We learned it was locked in the attic of the Science Center, but finding someone to take us there was like finding your way through an Egyptian tomb.
You can't come in, seriously. You can't show us the mummy thing. No, you can't. Why not?
There are specific instructions from that faculty member who's responsible for it that it not be photographed.
We had to settle for pictures of the 2,500-year-old mummy featured in Archaeology magazine in 1979. Word of the mummy caper spread quickly across this campus, and the consensus among most of the students is that it was a harmless prank, and a good one at that.
I think it's amusing.
It's a new one. Never heard of this one before.
The college says it will look for a more dignified place for this one-time Egyptian prince, making news again.
I wish they'd kind of leave it alone from now on. I think the guy's entitled to a little rest.
In Middletown, Jim Hoffer.
Practical joke left an ancient Egyptian mummy in this college student's bed. But the student and the school are not amused.
Stay with us. They're trying to solve a pretty good mystery tonight at Wesleyan University, the case of who moved the mummy. But this is no college play. As Doug Green reports, it's a college prank, very real to the student who found the body of an ancient Egyptian in his bed.
Wesleyan crated the mummy without bandages after this autopsy 11 years ago. Saturday night, freshman Tim Abel pushed his way through a small crowd in his dorm room and found an all-too-dead body in his bed. No matter how often he washes this sheet, it will always be marked in his mind by the 2,500-year-old mummy.
Probably the biggest pranks on the hall, and I'm wanted to be able to take jokes, but that's just something that just blew me away.
Abel doubts he can top what he calls this twisted prank.
I figured it was like a cadaver that had rotted. It was something that was, like a leathery substance. And at first I didn't even believe it. I thought, well, it's some dummy or something like that. So I reached down, grabbed it, and brought it to my face. And it was just like, and you know, all these flakes started coming off and like stuff came off under my fingernail.
Whoever did this had to carry the cadaver out of the science tower, across the street, and then back again. The university wants to make sure this doesn't happen again, but its approach is something of a mystery.
I don't want to discuss the particular security arrangements. Clearly, it was in a location that wasn't sufficiently secure, and we just have to remedy that.
Holder says there are several options that give the mummy the respect it deserves. The university is not considering burying the mummy in the cemetery near the freshman dorm. In Middletown, Doug Green, Connecticut News.